Rockstars, it's Allie, your RockStarBarGirl, and today's informational video in the Basic 101 series is going to be about your bar tools and bar setup. Many of you have never been behind a bar before, and there are a lot of things that you use behind the bar that you don't ever use in your everyday life, so you probably have no idea what these things are called or what you might use them for. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you should expect to see when you go behind the bar, and I also took some photos of what it looks like behind the bar at my bar to show you what you should expect once you get on the other side. So let's talk first about the tools that you should expect to see. And I'll start by just showing you some of the things that I have here on my bar at home, because these are tools that you will use at an actual bar. So first off, you may have seen this before. This is called a jigger. We talked about it in the pour video, and it's a metal measuring cup that has measuring space on either side. This one is 3/4 of an ounce and 1 1/4, but you can get jiggers that have all different types of measurements on either side: 1 ounce and 2 ounce, 1 1/2 ounce and 3/4 of an ounce, etc. Jiggers. At a high volume bar, you may not see these laying around because, as I mentioned in the pour video, you are going to want to be free pouring, and that's what will be expected of you. But should you see one of these, that's what it's called, a jigger, and that's what it's used for, measuring alcohol. Next, we'll talk about mixing our cocktails. That's when our shakers come in handy. These are 2 shakers. I believe it's a 10 ounce and a 20 ounce shaker that I have here. They fit together just like this, and they allow you to shake your cocktails. Because this side of the shaker is small, you are limited to how much you can put into these shakers without a bunch of it pouring out when you go to actually shake it. So, in addition to having shakers laying around at the bar, you will also probably have pint glasses. Pint glasses also fit into your shakers, but as you notice, it gives you a lot more space. So if you needed to shake up multiple cocktails at once, then a pint glass into your shaker will allow you to do that. So you'll see both shakers, large and small, and pint glasses around the bar for you to shake your cocktails in. You'll also have tools such as a strainer. When you shake your cocktails and you are done, many bartenders will use what's called an egg pour, where you simply, just like cracking an egg, slide the 2 shakers apart and allow the liquid to pour out of the space in the center. But if you have a lot of liquid in here, that might be a little bit shaky, in which case you can use a strainer. Your strainer is going to fit right into your shaker, and because it has springs on it, it allows you to slide the strainer back and forth, controlling how fast your liquid pours out of the shakers. This gives you great control when you need to pour multiple shots and you don't want all of your ingredients spilling all over the place. You want to get it right into those little glasses. Your shaker is really useful, and your strainer as well. This is a muddler. This is my favorite muddler. I got it years ago when the company Leblon did a promo at a job that I was working at. I really like this muddler because it's plastic, and wooden muddlers, because the wood can split, juice can get in there and go bad and cause mold on the muddlers. So plastic muddlers are definitely better, but in any event, whether you have a plastic muddler or a wooden muddler, which looks kind of like a miniature baseball bat, that is something that you will use to muddle or mush up, if you will, mint, limes, oranges, cherries, etc., for making cocktails that require you to muddle fruit or muddle herbs. Next, these are a set of tongs. Tongs are really, really important to have at your bar because they're actually a health code requirement. When you are dealing with your cut fruit garnishes, the proper way to take them out of a container and put them onto a cocktail is by using tongs. Or let's say you have a bunch of fruit that's been cut in buckets or Tupperware and you need to transfer those into a garnish tray, then you're going to want to do that with tongs if you're not wearing gloves. The whole idea being you don't want to be touching all this fruit with your dirty hands. So tongs should be around the bar, show the health department that you're not touching your fruit with your hands. And next we're going to talk about a bar spoon. Very simple idea, it's a spoon, but it comes with a much longer handle, which is really, really useful for mixing up martinis in really tall glasses, or for getting into that big jar of cherries, or for pouring layered cocktails. So we'll talk a little bit about layered shots and layered beer drinks in further videos when we talk about recipes. But using the surface of the spoon will allow you to float one ingredient on top of another, which creates a bunch of cool layered effects. So bar spoons are really handy to have around the bar. Those tools that you have at the bar, you should expect to already have at the bar. You should not really be required to provide those things for yourself. I have all of these things because it's useful if you want to bartend private events or throw your own parties, that you have these tools. But when you walk into a bar, you should expect to see these things there. What you should expect to bring yourself is your beer opener, sometimes called a church key. It has one end so that you can hang it on the wall, hang it on the bar, or just grab it out of your pocket very easily. And one end that is perfectly designed for popping open beer bottles. Your bar may have a few of these laying around, but these are like gold to bartenders, and so if one goes unclaimed, it will be snatched up. So there are not usually a lot of extras hanging around because they all have been claimed by someone. So it's a good idea to get your own and have a couple, so that if you lose them or you fall victim to a little sticky fingers McGee, that you have your own backup somewhere. So beer openers you will not typically find at the bar. You do need to provide these for yourself. And next we have a wine key, sometimes called a corkscrew. And a wine key can also serve as a beer opener. It typically will have a little hook on the front or on the back side that allows you to pop open bottles of beer. But these can be a little trickier to use and not as fast as your longer beer opener. They don't give you as much leverage, and so they're good as a backup if you don't have your beer opener. But definitely your beer opener is the way to go. In a high volume bar, you are going to be opening a lot more bottles of beer than you ever will bottles of wine. So I keep a wine key in my little bar bag that I bring to work with me every day, but my beer opener is right in my pocket, ready to go. Your wine key, in addition to being able to open bottles of beer, you can probably see the little hook right there. You also can use it to open your wine bottles, which is its primary purpose. And you would simply twist the corkscrew into your cork and use the levels on the extra side of the wine key to push your corkscrew up and out of the bottle. A good corkscrew, in addition to having a really sharp point, also has a really sharp knife on the back. And that little knife is designed to cut open the foil that sits on top of the cork on your bottle of wine. So very important to have, again, an item that a lot of bars don't have just sitting around. They tend to get lost, snatched up by employees. So these two items you're going to want to bring to work yourself, whereas the other items we just looked at will typically be at the bar already for you. Other items around the bar that you want to be familiar with are first of all, your bar mats. Bar mats are really important. They're going to be all over the bar, and they're just rubber mats with little holes in them that are level, that allow you to rest your drinks and make your drinks right on the bar mats while catching everything that you spill. For that reason, they're also sometimes called spill mats. So the bottom line with those is make your drinks on these mats. This is going to really cut down on mess that you might have around the bar. If you make all your drinks on the spill mat, add your straws, add your garnish, completely build the drink and finish it up, then you can move your drink from your beer mats or bar mat to the customer. This is called a caddy. A caddy can be used for napkins. In mine, I have a bunch of coasters. I like coasters better than napkins as they don't get as gross on the bar when they get wet, and they can be reused if they're not too damaged. Straws, stirrers, I have some toothpicks in here. So caddies are there to help hold all of the things that you would put into a cocktail after you were done making it. And then you have fruit trays or garnish trays. where you will keep your limes, lemons, oranges, cherries, olives, strawberries, or any other fruits that you use in garnishing your drinks. I really love mason jars. I think it's the Southern girl in me. So rather than having garnish trays, I just have individual mason jars. But again, in your more high volume bars, you're going to see a fruit tray with your garnishes rather than jars. But either way, you're going to have something on the bar that holds your garnishes. So those are the tools that you will see behind the bar. Those are the names for them and what we use them for. Now let's talk a little bit about what back here actually looks like. This is what your typical bar setup looks like. You'll notice that in the center we have an ice bin which holds all of the ice you will use for making your cocktails. On the sides of your ice we have plastic bins holding liqueurs. You can also use these plastic bins to hold juices, and this is just a space where you can keep ingredients that need to be near the ice and chilled, but that you don't want to have down in a fridge so that you can access them easily. In front of the ice, we have what is called our well or our speed rack. And this is where you are going to put the liquors and liqueurs that you use most often. Typically, you will have your house liquors, vodka, gin, rum, tequila, brandy, and whiskey. And you might also have your call versions of those same liquors. And what I mean by those terms, house and call, is just your very inexpensive house brand liquors, and then your medium price liquors that people usually call out by name. In addition to having your house and a few of your call liquor options in your well, you might also have a few popular liqueurs that you use often in cocktails, such as peach schnapps, triple sec, amaretto, or sour apple pucker. The most important thing you need to know about your well or speed rack is that in 99% of all bars, they are going to be organized in a similar fashion. What you should expect to see when you go up to your well or speed rack is the following: vodka, gin, rum, tequila, brandy, and whiskey. Especially the first four, vodka, gin, rum, tequila. That is an industry standard. So not only will your well be in that order, but sometimes the back bar and the display cases for your liquor will also be organized that way. So always just remember, vodka, gin, rum, tequila. That's the order that the bottles are typically going to be in. Additionally, you should have a holster which holds an ice scooper. Just like your tongs, having an ice scooper by the ice is a health department requirement because you should always be scooping ice with a scooper, the handle of which is never left in the ice. You also will see that you will have a soda and juice gun. In a second, we will look at a typical soda gun and talk about the juices and carbonated beverages that will come out of that gun. But your ice well is usually where your gun will be connected. This is what your typical fountain gun will look like. At your bar, in order to speed up your service, your bar will probably provide you with a gun like this to prevent you from having to pop open cans or open up bottles or reach for juice containers every time you need to add your non-alcoholic mixer to your cocktails. If your gun has specific brands on it, such as Pepsi, Sprite, ginger ale, then you don't have to worry about figuring out what those buttons stand for. Just read them, hit the button, and pour away. But oftentimes, you are going to have buttons that have letters or symbols on them, and you'll need to know what they generally mean. Every bar is different. Guns get replaced, they break, they get fixed. They're ordered from different companies, and so your particular guns might not correspond with the standard. And in fact, if you have multiple guns behind your bar, they may not even match each other. But if you have an idea of what the lettering on guns generally means, then you shouldn't have too hard of a time figuring out what non-alcoholic mixers have been provided for you on your gun. So they're typically as follows. The letter L stands for lemon lime soda, such as Sprite. C stands for cola, like Pepsi or Coke. G stands for ginger ale. Soda refers to soda water, which is just club soda, bubbly water. T refers to Diet Cola, or in some instances, tonic water. Q stands for tonic water. W, or water, is obviously just water. Your juices will either be labeled orange, cranberry, pineapple, or they might just have numbers on them, like 1 or 2, or random letters like M or B, in which case you'll need to just press those buttons to see which juice comes out. You also might have Sour Mix on your gun and Red Bull or some type of energy drink on your gun. So just take a look at your gun when you start on your first day and make sure that you're familiar with what every button on your gun stands for and is connected to. So that wraps up our tools and bar setup video. I want to let you guys know where you can find these products, especially your beer opener and your wine key, which, as I said before, your bar is probably not going to provide for you. I absolutely live by a website called barproducts.com, BAR products.com. They are wonderful. You can get everything at this website. No, literally everything. You can get a beer pong table and put your face on it. barproducts.com. So check it out. Another website that I absolutely love is mycustomopener.com. That's where you can customize your beer openers, put pictures on it, design it, put your name on it, do really cool stuff with it. I recommend those. As I said before, your beer opener might fall victim to a Sticky Fingers McGee at the bar, and one of the ways to make it really obvious which beer openers are yours is to customize yours. So I would go to mycustomopener.com. That website is great. They also have links to other websites where you can do other things with your beer openers. I believe they have a link to a website called Inked, where you can get tattoo type designs and pinup girl designs on your beer openers. So you can really make your beer openers super cool and super personal, and that should help you hold on to them. So check out the next video on Bar Lingo, and to make sure that you know when that video comes out, click on the button below. Make sure that you subscribe so you're updated as to all of the newest videos that are coming out. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye, Rockstars.